Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc, and streaming live on facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. My mom actually gave some criticism to me recently. She said, I have to look in the camera more. And I said, she's like, you're always looking off to the side. And I said, well, that's where my co-host sits. She's like, no, I want to see you. You need to be talking directly to the camera.
Heck with him.
So,
heck with your co-host.
So, sorry. Welcome, James Gallagher. Welcome, Dar Cruz, who's sick tonight. And welcome to our co-host, Hassan Godwin, Lord of the Radio.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a little warm in here, but it's great to be here. It's great to be warm.
To anybody who is streaming right now, they notice I'm wearing a Captain America shirt, and as Sam pointed out, why would I do that when we're going to be talking nothing but Spider-Man? Because it was 4th of July weekend. This is patriotic.
You wore it last week, though.
I know. I messed up, actually. Thanks for pointing that out.
Me.
Yeah, I was sorry. Yeah, I meant to.
Sorry, force a habit.
Yeah.
I'm getting better with that.
I had. See, what happened was. I was gonna wear it, but yes.
At least you're wearing something festive.
This is true. I
have my typical plaid pattern.
So I have a complaint about 4th of July, though.
Oh,
which is it was on like a Tuesday. Today totally felt like a Monday. Threw me all off.
But isn't it great when you found out? And well, you don't. Yeah. All right.
Well, yeah.
You don't have a
like a real job. Yes, I know.
Now,
exactly,
I wasn't going to say real. I said
I'm saying that. I take pride in saying I don't have a real job.
You don't have a real job. So of course it doesn't. Mm-hmm. Wednesday doesn't matter to you. But for the rest of us, it's like, yeah, I thought this was Monday. This is freaking Wednesday. I almost went home tonight. I was like, oh wait,
that would have been kind of awkward too. I'd have been like,
I would have been calling it. Hey, what time? And it was like a distant. Everything you say sucks.
Dari, our intern, is sick. It would have been Trista's big debut as my co-host tonight. It would have been very exciting.
And that would have been the end of my capital with the show right there.
We welcome Brian Everham. Brian actually messaged me on Facebook and said, are you going to be on tonight? This is like Thursday or Friday. He's like, and I'm like, no. He's like, well, what am I going to do? He's like, what am I going to listen to tonight when I get home? So, Brian, this one's for you.
Yeah.
All right. We do this every week. We talk comics, movies, TV, and pop culture. And we do it again. We do it live on Facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. We do it on iHeartRadio, iTunes. You can download us. Our downloads have been spiking through the roof lately. So thank you to all the people out there downloading us. And again, if you're catching us on the live show or if you're catching us in the video replay, again, just search Secrets of the Sire. You'll get us. You'll get us on iTunes, again, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Android apps everywhere. We're on a whole bunch, just a whole bunch. So,
get us whether you like us or not.
That's right.
Yeah, do it.
JC for life, Brian Everham wrote. John Carter for life. We're not going to talk John Carter. We are going to talk Spider-Man Homecoming. And we're going to talk some of the casting decisions.
Talk about something good instead of John Carter.
We're going to talk some of the casting decisions. Overall, the movie is getting real positive buzz. But we're going to start with a question that Sam had kind of said earlier. Sam, our producer, Sam Leibowitz, who runs Talking Alternative Broadcasting, he
stares at us judgmentally from his console sometimes.
That's a subjective response.
I think
he looks at us like
admonishingly. Or
again, that's very negative.
Pityingly.
Right.
He looks at us with pity.
I think he's very proud. He's like, yes.
That's a very positive outlook. Yeah,
right, exactly. This is yin and yang right here.
Okay.
You're like, look at how he's looking.
Yeah,
that's glass half full and glass broken on the floor.
You see a smile, I see a grimace.
That's exactly it.
He looked like he's in pain.
Rosa. We have Rosa Cassi, who's just joined us. My ex loves Spider-Man. I used to love it, but now not as much as I used to. What a great segue into the conversation we were having.
How did you do that?
I didn't, actually, and that's the most amazing part.
All right.
Rosa, I'm going to say, because there's actual accents on her name.
Hurt yourself.
No, that was good. That was good. It took Spanish. I know how to say Rosa. Roll those R's.
Well done.
We were talking about this back, in our green room. And again, if you want to become an insider, go to our green room. It's on patreon.com/Secrets of the Sire. It's another Marvel movie, and it's another Spider-Man movie. Mm-hmm. Everyone, look, they're saying this is the best one, and this is really cool, and this is really great, and Iron Man's in it, and all these things to love about it. And we are going to enjoy it. but the shine is off these Marvel movies. Like, they're just like, how much last year were we anticipating Guardians? Oh, I can't wait for Guardians of the Galaxy 2 to come out. I can't wait. And then it comes out, and we're like, yeah, it was good. Like, it was a really good movie. Like, I enjoyed it. And then, like, next week, we're gone. Wonder Woman comes out, we're on it for 4 weeks. We're on it for, like, months, weeks in advance, and weeks when it hits.
That's because of the turnaround. Because everyone was saying it was going to be, it was the end of an empire right there, right? That was the end of the Warner Brothers, DC Comics cinematic universe.
No, there was that talk. There was is DC going to mess it up again?
Yeah, so once it didn't go over a cliff, everyone was, a lot of people were happy. Other people were surprised. Mm-hmm. 1 or 2 jerks were disappointed, and for the most part. You also got to see a movie. On top of all of it, you get to see a movie that you actually enjoyed. So
yeah,
that had a DC character in it.
No, but even leading up to it, though, all the trailers looked really cool. It looked different than, again, a DC movie, and it looked different than what Marvel's been putting out. And it captured this zeitgeist of the moment. Especially in politics, the way the feminist movement has been moving, has been kind of gaining even more momentum and steam. Like it had this convergence of a cultural phenomenon, and it delivered at the same time. So not only did you have the hype leading up to it, but then the actual movie paid off to the point where. But is it any better than any of the Marvel movies? No, I'd say it's actually just as good as every Marvel movie that's come out. I think or just as good as some of the best ones. But again, it captured it felt like an event. Spider-Man right now doesn't feel like an event. It feels like it'll be a nice way to spend, if it's raining on Saturday, let's go see it.
Well, it can't be really an event until you experience it, right? You haven't experienced it yet. So if you remember, like everyone everyone had pretty much cashed in Fox's chips with Days of Future Past, right?
Sure.
Spider-Man came out. Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 had come out, and everyone was in deep anticipation of that. And there was another movie that was coming out like simultaneously.
Sure.
And just I think maybe a year earlier, the second Sin City movie had come out and vanished.
Yeah.
And
it just wasn't as good.
Yeah, it went right into the ether. So everyone's like, I remember looking at actual Marvel. Pencilers who I am friends with on Facebook, who were actually like, is anybody actually even going to see X-Men?
Right.
Anybody, and it was a joke. So Days of Future Past comes out, does really well. Mm-hmm. It's I actually saw it in the theater and enjoyed it, and I'm not partial to the Fox movies. And then all of a sudden, it's X-Men's on the rise. It's all coming back, and everything else is a joke. And until they they blew it up with Age of Apocalypse, like the next movie.
Sure, yeah. But again,
that's how it works. But it wasn't an event. Until it happened.
No, that's my point. I think none of these movies have become events anymore. But Wonder Woman did. Wonder Woman actually was an event, whereas Spider-Man.
But Ant-Man was like a big deal.
No, it wasn't.
No, I know.
It was a cool departure. Doctor Strange was a really cool movie. Again, what Marvel's doing is there's nothing wrong with what they're doing, but they've done the formula so well.
You don't agree that Ant-Man was a big deal, but a lot of people were like, if they blow Ant-Man, Marvel's over. It's over this summer. Like and because
it was a departure from what they normally did in terms of having superheroes, yes.
Because Avengers had come out and underperformed because Age of Ultron wasn't as great as everybody wanted it to be. Everyone had said, well, Marvel blew it because now the only thing they have to save them this summer is Ant-Man, and Ant-Man's not going to do it for them.
Sure.
Ant-Man comes out. It does phenomenally well for a movie about a guy who can control ants with his mind. And all of a sudden, all is forgiven. We all move on. So these things kind of happen.
Avengers, yes. Avengers 2 was not as if you had to name a Marvel movie that kind of failed to live up to expectations, it was Avengers 2. Yeah. I agree with that.
And then it had its own director bad mouthing in the studio just before it came out.
Ant-Man had no expectation, but there was a lot of curiosity to whether or not Marvel could pull off a movie with a lesser-known character in a non-traditional superhero
There was a
role.
lot of peril in it because of what people were saying. I remember like the scuttlebutt at the time was like, oh, it's over for them. If this flops, this will be their first flop, and it'll be over for them.
But you know what, though? I mean, I think let's trace back again to like the big movies, right? Like Spider-Man, when it first came out, was a big deal. Spider-Man 2 was an amazingly big deal.
But there was only one of its kind.
Spider-Man 3, right? Well, that's I guess the point, right? I mean, I guess that's the point. Marvel has created this, and we used, and again, if you want to get in on our green room discussions, which are very, very, just as rowdy as this, I would say. We maybe more, sounds like no, it's much more. We were talking about how the Spider-Man movies, though, had this kind of like, build up because it was unique, it was something special, all of these things. But Marvel has nailed the formula down so much to the point now where, and I used American Idol as the example for this, right? American Idol was an event when it first came out. I mean, it was, and and there was a scarcity to it, where it was once a year, and Simon Cowell was unlike any judge that anybody had ever seen. I mean, there'd been music competitions before. There was Star Search. There were things like that, but it resurrected this genre, and it gave us a villain in Simon Cowell that we could, root against, and then it gave us heroes in like Randy Jackson and Paul Abdul, and then the performers were really good, and Kelly Clarkson ended up becoming this like phenomenal, actual legitimate music superstar based off of it. And then every season after that was just like this. It was this big event until they said, well, now we need to do one twice a year. We can't just do it once a year. And meanwhile, you had all these other imitators kind of coming in and all this competition coming in. And eventually, American Idol stopped being this event. It was always a good show. You could always tune it in, and it became like a standby. Well, Marvel, I feel like, has become that now. And I think the buzz around the Spider-Man movie, I'm excited to see it. But we already have callers coming in saying, not callers, we have callers, 877-480-4120 if you'd like to call in, 877-480-4120. Yes, and Brian Everin, we are talking about American Idol. It's a great analogy. But Marvel has now become this formula. It's reliable. You can go to a Spider-Man movie and you're going to enjoy it, but it's not this event anymore. And you and I were talking backstage, what is there anything wrong with that? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it.
I just want to know what the culmination of this awareness is. Like, does that mean that we stop watching them? Or
I think, but that's exactly what I think it comes down to. Now, does it mean that it's not going to break? It's not going to be a big box office smash? No. But
what if it is? What if it turns out to be that everybody was just kind of like holding on to it? I
mean, look
and then
at
Friday comes along and it becomes Spider-Man mania. Isn't this going to be?
It could be a movie. You could be 100% right.
Going to be like a trivial thing.
100% right.
So
but let me ask you this though. Let's take the initial weekend out of the equation, because the initial weekend everyone does great, but the drop. That's where we're going to see if there's any kind of residual fatigue when it comes to Spider-Man, when it comes to this movie, or is this movie going to be like, you've got to go see this movie, you've got to go see this movie, and that's where
yeah. I don't know. I'm confused. I'm just like, everyone's saying this movie is going to be phenomenal and it's going to be a great movie.
Yeah. No, everyone says it's going to be a very good movie, I think.
Well, your words before the show started was that the response the response has been amazing. Yeah. Right? No pun intended. So why are we now looking for a reason why this is a doom and gloom scenario?
I think
that's what I don't, and I understand the question, I understand the relevance of the question, but I just don't understand the mentality behind, like, well, might really be good, but since I'm not expecting to achieve immortality while watching it, I don't think it's gonna, it's not gonna do anything for me. It's bad. We're at the end of it. The golden age is over. We need to move. I don't understand. Movies have now, because there's so many of them, and I know we're running out of time. Movies have now the same mentality that like Netflix events have.
Sure.
Where it's coming. Then the entire season drops. Everybody watches that season. Everyone says this season was great. And then the next one's coming,
right.
When's the next one coming out? And that's kind of how it is. Nothing lingers anymore.
All right, we'll talk more about that. Plus, coming up next, we've got a lot of things. How Spider-Man Homecoming actually messed up the casting for future movies by casting something. We're definitely going to talk about that.
All right.
And is this the end for Robert Downey Jr.? Is this the beginning of the end for Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man? Are we basking in the final days?
Maybe they'll have enough money to pay other actors after he leaves.
When we come back.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
do you want to connect with?
Are you an entrepreneur or intrapreneur looking to build your following?
Welcome to our show.
Follow Me Friday with Joan
and Priya.
Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern
on talkradio.nyc.
We're your digital connectors. Woo woo! What's that?
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
Can a man actually get up with any kind of macho manliness and say Twilight was a good film franchise and or movie? That's like the guy wearing the pink shirt, right? Like he feels completely confident.
But men can rock the pink.
Wait!
Sam the engineer is wearing pink. Right.
I just pulled a Hassan.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire.
Get back to the show.
We do this every week. So, I will say this: the Wednesday, July, the Wednesday Monday that we're having.
Yeah,
right now, like I'm much more rested than I normally am. Yeah, the
you are.
Monday.
You're all relaxed.
This is a call-in show, so if you guys have opinions, you want to call in 877-480-4120. Unless you downloaded us on iTunes and iHeartRadio,
and don't.
And SoundCloud,
because it's going to be a different show.
Well, you can totally right, exactly right. We have a lot of talk radio. I want to thank Rob and Callie. Hassan and I were on that last week, and that was a lot of fun. We're going to have them on as well. We gave Callie a lot of recommended reading that she has to do before she comes on that date, which we will announce when we have it all squared away. Sometime in August, they'll be on. Secrets of the Sire is brought to you by all of our beloved patrons. We have dedicated fans. Einar Peterson, who's awesome, by the way. He retweets us all the time, and he's doing his own sci-fi novel on Patreon. So go check it out.
His name right, so that's
a
thing.
That's it. Matt Byer, Ashley Haikai,
See?
Our program director Stephanie Dolce, our executive producer Steve Ovecki, Brian Phillips, Christina Gillen, and as always our Uber fan Christina Dolce. Go to Patreon, become an insider. You get to be part of the group, you get to be part of the crowd.
Get to hear the yelling that goes on.
Now the good thing is we actually have that discussion saved in our private feed, so we're going to see if our interns extraordinaire Trista and Dari can do something with them and get them up on YouTube. Go check out the YouTube page. It's actually really awesome now.
It is
because
awesome.
The interns are doing some amazing things on that. YouTube.com/Secrets of the Sire. Really funny animated GIFs. All our great interviews. We're working on getting the Kevin Bacon interview up there. We're working on getting a whole bunch, and we got some really great guests lined up. But all right, we were talking Spider-Man: Homecoming.
That's what we were doing.
One of the things that Sam brought up too, while asking the question about it seems like they're really making him the youngest version possible, is one of the things they're doing is they're erasing the continuity, which amazingly smart decision, right? I mean, we kind of talked about Ghostbusters, and one of the gripes that I had, I don't remember if you shared the same gripe that I had, or actually you weren't even on the show last year, so
no.
But we might have discussed Ghostbusters at one point, though, was they erased the continuity of Ghostbusters by making it a reboot and not making it right, and not making it a continuation of the series.
Right.
If they made it a continuation,
they've done that a couple of times with these reboots. I mean, I know it's not on the same scale, but they did the same thing with the. Sorry to totally geek out, but they did the same thing with the Thundercats reboot.
Yeah.
And all they had to do, really, to make it work was just to say it was like a couple of thousand years in the future.
Exactly.
And then you would have had both continuities. You would have made everybody happy.
Everyone would have been happy, and everything would have been great.
Yeah.
This is one case where, though, the reboot was necessary, I think, because you already had two versions of Spider-Mans. In this case, and and again, the
slate clean.
Right. And by going so early in his timeline, making him young and in high school, like 15, you essentially are really starting fresh.
Because the Tobey Maguire kind of touched on his high school, but it lasted. It's like the Green Lantern phenomenon. It lasted only like 20 minutes in the beginning, and then suddenly he was out on his own.
Exactly.
And he was like 40.
Exactly.
And he was the it was a CFO of Spider-Man.com or some weirdness.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So that was that's a plus right away. And Gene Goldstein actually commented, everyone loved Spider-Man in Civil War. War and is really looking forward to seeing this movie. I agree, he was amazing in Civil War. Smart for Marvel to do it. And I don't think we're debating that it's going to be a good movie. Marvel doesn't seem to make bad movies.
Ooh, careful.
Okay.
That's a predictor.
All right. Well, this is true. This is true. But I mean, so far the word is out. Everyone loves this movie.
Yeah, hopefully.
One of the things, though, that people were up in arms about, though, was the diverse casting, right? And I'm going to give you an example of diverse casting that really, really got messed up. And you're going to be surprised by what I say. Maybe not you.
Probably
but
not
maybe
me.
You. Yeah, see how
make contact with the camera.
Well, yeah. See this. Hi, Mom.
Look at the folks out there.
Hi, Mom. See, I'm looking into the camera.
Okay.
Well, go big or go home, right? Like, there's a phrase: "Don't be you can't be half pregnant." And I think two cases in this movie where I don't understand the logic of what they're doing. One of them was the Zendaya casting, and that was a big to do when it first came out, right?
Right.
Brian Everham actually just chimed in and said Ghost Rider was bad, but that wasn't like a Marvel Studios movie, so we're gonna exclude those. But we'll get
Ghost
into
Rider
that.
never happened.
Right, exactly.
Those two movies,
right, exactly.
Never
Agents
happened.
of S.H.I.E.L.D. Boom.
Kaboom.
Zendaya, when she got cast as Mary Jane, supposedly it was like, well. Why are you doing this? Oh, it's another example of race swapping, and that was the term that people were using, and that's in the public forum as what it was, and people were kind of up in arms about it. I'm upset they didn't go the full 9. Her character is Michelle Jones. Who is Spider-Man's girlfriend? Mary Jane.
Well, they got to keep the door open.
Michelle Jones.
But see, if they make her Michelle Jones, and they have room for Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane for the future,
right?
So they're just leaving the door open.
But why? I mean, why?
Means Michelle Jones is doomed. That's what that actually means.
Right? Exactly.
She's doomed. Someone's going to drop a bus on her.
But it just feels like such a cop out. Just if you're going to do it, just do it. Dye her hair red. Make her Mary Jane. This is the ultimate Spider-Man universe.
Yeah.
Just go with it. Like, don't be half pregnant.
I'm not gonna.
The other one, which really. So, in all of the trailers, yes, I know we talked about this.
This one, I'm going to back off on a little bit.
Well, you don't want me to body shame it.
Yeah.
So, I see all the trailers.
You body shame hard.
See all the trailers of this chubby little Filipino guy as Spider-Man's best friend.
Yeah.
And I sit there and I say, this is really exciting. They're taking Ganke, G-A-N-K-E, who is the best friend of Miles Morales, and they're merging him into this universe.
Right.
That's really cool. He looks identical to Ganke.
What amazingly. As though they used him to draw the character.
Right. What a fantastic casting job. And I'm really excited by the possibility. Okay. So fine, they're merging the universes. I get it. Okay. And what ends up happening, though?
I don't know what happened.
His character name is Ned Leeds. Ned Leeds, the future Hobgoblin.
Yeah,
you eliminated
along
two
with the fact that what kind of
storylines.
Filipino name is Leeds?
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
That's the thing that bothered me more than everything else.
And look, I'm assuming he's Filipino. He looks Filipino to me, and I mean no disrespect if he's not.
He's got an Asian quality to him.
I mean, it could be, but again, why would you eliminate two storylines? First of all, he's never becoming Hobgoblin, okay? Porky little Ganke is never going to become Hobgoblin. He's never going to become Hobgoblin.
Do a couple of laps around the block. He could be the Hobgoblin.
Second of all, if you're going to pattern
he could be the
him,
Blobgoblin. Why isn't that...
I'm trying to... All right, I'm asking everyone out there right now, come up with your best fat/goblin combinations
don't do that.
you can do. The Blob Goblin. Yeah, no, send them in. Brian Everham. You've got them. I know you're out there. I know you're out there. You can come up with something.
Don't do it to yourselves.
Peter Aiken, our occasional staff writer, come up with something and send it in to us. We've got the Blob Goblin. That's the best one so far. There's no question about it. That one's the winner.
I feel so bad.
But again... Hassan's opinions in no way reflect that of the show, Talking Alternative Broadcasting, or anything.
I never thought they did, so I'm all right.
The opinions expressed. No, but
I'm easily disavowed.
So not only do they eliminate the possibility, or okay, most likely eliminate the possibility of him becoming the Hobgoblin, unless he does like the Chris Pratt diet.
Yeah,
and he's just like totally
he does a paleo diet.
Right, he does.
Okay, he does a paleo diet.
Right, exactly. Or he becomes someone completely different. But why would you also then eliminate the possibility of Genki appearing in an Ultimate Spider-Man movie with Miles Morales?
Who knows really who he is?
Ooh, Gene Goldstein, the Gobble Goblin. That's pretty good. I like.
Nice.
I got to give the thumbs up to that one.
All right, well done.
That's pretty.
Well done.
That is pretty good.
The gobble.
Oh, the slob gobble. All right, keep them coming. Keep them coming.
See,
Keep
it's
them
not
coming.
going to stop now.
But again, why would you do that? To me is a head
slob?
scratcher.
That's not nice, though.
The slob goblin.
Yeah, come on.
You don't like the slob goblin?
The large people indicative of being slobs.
It sounds like I'm allowed to call anyone a blob goblin.
I can
because I am a larger individual.
Nah, yeah, nice save there, Dolce.
The chub goblin. No, I'm very. Yes, I'm very. I dance. I dance around. I dance around. Again, we do not. So the only other explanation for the casting, right, which is the only thing we can think of, is that maybe there is something to the deal that Marvel worked out. Like maybe there's something to the Sonyverse that Sony has the rights to Mary Jane and they can't use Mary Jane, or maybe they have rights to Genki and not Ned Leeds. I don't know. What do you got?
Yeah, but maybe something. No, I was still.
No,
laughing, I was still laughing about the other thing.
We've ruined the entire show.
No. Yeah.
Actually, no. We've only made it better.
No,
so yeah,
yes,
keep coming in.
But no, I don't know. I kind of agree with you. The only thing I vehemently disagree is that the guy can't be the Hobgoblin just because he's chubby. You know.
In this case, you're glass half full, and I'm shattered.
Exactly.
Glass. I'm glass full of Kool-Aid.
If he puts his mind to it,
chocolate milk.
See, it's not going to stop now. It's not going to stop.
He's Cartman with the protein shakes.
Stop. Stop it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though, too. Like, Shocker's in the movie. Like, they actually have somebody who's dressed as Shocker, and he's using some tech. They got the Vulture. I mean, they've got these guys.
They've got stuff, and they've got actually high-tech, interesting bad guys that they never get to for Spider-Man, because Spider-Man never lasts more than 2 or 3 movies for them to get to that part. So that's exciting. And it's Michael Keaton.
And there's
Batman
again.
Spider-Man versus Batman
again. All these really great things. So I'm very curious as to why they didn't.
But you're saying it's not going to be an event, and you're I mean that's our last segment.
I think it's going to come and go. I think the same thing.
But if it's good, it's going to come and go because the next week is going to be like Planet of the Apes.
But that's the problem. Marvel has serialized their own movies to the point where they've become episodic, which is great in the sense of telling a larger story. But that's what makes TV and movies. Movies are always always feel like you're doing something special. I think if people become ho-hum to it and people become like, well, it's just another Marvel movie, you'll get the initial thing.
There's no way because there's so many movies coming out this year that have nothing to do with Marvel. But there's I mean, we've already blown past the Alien.
Exactly.
We've already blown by, Guardians of the Galaxy. We've gone by so many movies.
Yeah.
And there's just no way.
And only one has stuck this year in the same
Wonder
kind of
Woman, and
is
because
Wonder
it's an event. But I mean, it's only an event because we're all a bunch of sexist jerks. That's why.
That's not true at all. All right, when we come back, we will read some more of your Goblin fare, which is very exciting. Yeah. And we'll also talk to our guest Brian Smith when we return.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
If you have an interest in marijuana, you want to know about marijuana, law, policy, and culture, then feel free to join me, Joseph A. Bondi, every Friday at 11 o'clock in the morning on my show In the Know 420 on TalkingAlternative.com.
Legalize the herb to continue to resist the passage of this necessary legislation.
Hi, this is Rob Kay.
And I'm Callie Alpert.
And we're hosts of The Rob and Callie Show. Are you looking for a show that talks about real stuff like life, love, the pursuit of being yourself?
Then you have come to the right place because we cover topics ranging from chivalry to gratitude to your relationship with money and everything in between.
So listen to us on The Rob and Callie Show Tuesdays, 8 to 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on talkradio.nyc.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
We're going to keep it superficial.
Just the brass tacks.
We are
of the
very
situation.
superficial people in general,
Well,
so we're going to stick to... Well, I'm a very superficial person.
Yeah, I'm all right.
I'm a book-by-the-cover kind of person.
I'm a great guy. I'm not superficial at all.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, live on talkradio.nyc. You can call in, join the conversation, 877-480-4120, or you can stream us live on Facebook, facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. Joel Mulvey had a great comment, and he said any studio would sign up for the problems of having consistently good movies. I agree with you, but the problem is every studio is signing up for this and trying to imitate it, and eventually it's chipping away very slowly at the brand. And off camera we were talking, and Hassan, you were going to say,
I don't even remember.
You don't even remember what you were going to say. But if you wanted to hear what you were saying, the Green Room feed is still going on, so it's, you can always. Check us out
I'm
there.
saying if you had a comic, if you put out a steady book, right?
Yeah.
You know, because you put out books, but if you put out a steady book like monthly,
yeah.
And someone said this is another fantastic, issue of the Sire.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what your goal was?
It is your goal, but wouldn't you rather be like, oh my God, you got to read this. This is unbelievable.
Can't do that every week, though.
Not every week, but I think you can get to a point where what you're doing
Nobody
makes sense.
even talks about Game of Thrones like that anymore.
Gosh. Yeah, they do.
Not now.
Man. James Gallagher had a great one, by the way, Corn on the Coblin, which I like that one as well. I know what you're saying, and we'll get to it. We're going to get back to it, but I want to welcome Brian Smith on the line. Brian, you write Spider-Man comics. What is your take on the whole conversation we're having here?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on the show, guys. It's really it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
And I've yet to see like any of the. I've been avoiding spoilers like crazy on this movie. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the stuff you were talking about, like. It's. I can tell you guys are really passionate about it, but I was kind of having like one finger in my ear the whole time.
That makes sense. I mean, I like to go in fresh as well too. But there were like little casting decisions where you find out the name of a character, and it's like really, like why would you do that? Why?
I didn't know that the best friend's name was Ned Leeds. That's an odd choice. I agree with that.
Right? Like, I mean, of all the things they could have done, like they basically patterned him after Miles Morales' best friend, like physically. Like, why would you combine the two? You know, it just didn't. Little things like that where, I don't know, something doesn't smell right with that.
Right.
But hey, welcome to the show. You write the all ages Ultimate Spider-Man comics. How excited are you for this movie? And from an insider point of view, how much do you think it's going to mirror a lot of the stuff that you guys you kind of write about? I mean, you have like Ultimate Spider-Man, and he's kind of this teenager version of Spider-Man, and that's what we're seeing up on screen. So, how much anticipation do you think you're going to see stuff that you've kind of either touched upon or written or your version of Spider-Man up on screen?
Well, it's I was actually an editor at Marvel during the first Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man when that came out. And I actually worked on the film adaptation, the comic.
Oh, cool.
That came out at the time. That was written by Stan Lee and drawn by Alan Davis.
I have it. Yep.
So I remember how excited we all were at that point, like when we started seeing some of the early stuff come back. And I remember how exciting it was to go to the theater and see that first Spider-Man movie and just having a blast with the entire staff and, getting to see what at the time, what I thought was like a definitive version of the character up on the screen.
Sure.
So the fact that we've had so many different versions of Spider-Man, the Raimi stuff, the Amazing Spider-Man, and now Spider-Man Homecoming, if you're a Spider-Man fan, it's a great time to be alive because you've had so many different versions of the character to choose from and, cartoons and whatever else. It's pretty amazing to see. No pun intended.
What's your favorite incarnation of Spider-Man?
Oh, I mean, I tend to always go back to the older stuff. I love like the first 20 issues of the Amazing Spider-Man run. I'm also a huge fan of John Romita Jr.'s run on Spectacular. That story with Juggernaut was pretty amazing to me as a kid. In fact, when I was in high school, I got to meet him at a convention, and those are the only comics I brought to the show to have him sign. The Roger Stern, John Romita stuff. It was great. I was also lucky enough to work on the first Ultimate Spider-Man at Marvel when I was up there, and kind of see the birth of that whole, the rebirth of teenage Peter Parker, and watch Bendis and Bagley do their thing, as it was happening, and that was pretty amazing.
How groundbreaking was How groundbreaking was that?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, how groundbreaking was that Ultimate Spider-Man run from Bendis and Bagley?
It was pretty awesome. It was, at the time, up on staff, people were really, nobody knew if it was going to be a big hit or a total failure. It's we already had a line of Spider-Man comics, and it seemed like, okay, well, we may be just competing with ourselves at this point to put out another line of comic books starring the same heroes. But once those scripts started coming in and Bagley started, doing his thing, it really took off. It was pretty amazing to be a part of.
And the Ultimate Spider-Man, you're doing the all-ages books right now. Do you prefer the teenage Spider-Man or the college Spider-Man or the post-college Spider-Man?
I write the books that they don't even show up here in the States, unfortunately. At least I don't think they do at this point. But I do the Ultimate Spider-Man comics for Panini that show up in, it's almost like a highlights magazine overseas for kids. So there's games and puzzles. There's like a pack-in, trading card or, there's all kinds of cool stuff in there. And I do an 11-page comic for them every month. So my favorite version of Spider-Man is definitely, teenage sad sack Peter Parker, where Spider-Man is like, this amazing hero that could do all these incredible things, but, Peter's life always ends up on a down note. He can never have a social life. He can never, it's all the high school problems that we all have magnified by the fact that you're secretly awesome all the time and nobody knows it.
I am secretly awesome and nobody knows it.
Very secret.
So
secret, no one knows.
I know.
You don't even know it half.
No, I really don't. For the new movie now, too, I mean, obviously it's going to be really good, right? But one of the things we keep talking about, though, do you feel there's a Spider-Man fatigue or do you feel there's a Marvel fatigue? Because to me, and just to kind of recap what we were kind of talking about, Wonder Woman felt like an event. Every other movie that's kind of come out, though, and especially another Spider-Man movie, there's definitely a contingent of people that are like, oh, another Spider-Man movie, or oh, good, another Marvel movie, it's nice, it's good, and we'll enjoy it, but it doesn't seem to have that same event quality it had at one point.
Oh, I don't know, man. Well, again, I guess it depends on what circles you're running, but like down here, I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina at this point, and I'm buddies with a bunch of people that own comic shops locally, Acme Comics, Sailfish Comics. And the energy is palpable. People are really excited for this film. And I don't know if I'm just so hooked into the comic culture at this point, and, everybody's dying to see what happens after Civil War and, the continuation of Spider-Man's story within the Marvel Universe. And just, but even like, family members and, my brothers have kids and they love the Marvel heroes. They love these characters now. Like, they love Groot and Rocket Raccoon, like things that I wouldn't think would even be possible when I was a little kid. That that these characters have name recognition in the mass population. They're excited for it. So I understand what you're saying as far as like Wonder Woman. Like that just it feels like that's going to continue throughout the rest of the summer. Like that is just it's on a wave that's not going to end anytime soon. But I think people are pretty stoked about the Spider-Man film. I know I am. I really like this version of the character. I think Tom Holland's great. Even the newer touches, like kind of, Spider-Man's origin kind of merging into Iron Man's, oversight. I think it's cool, and I'm excited to see the film.
Now, the rumor is that this will be the beginning of the end for Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. Speculating, of course. Do you think that's going to be the case? Are we seeing the end of Robert Downey Jr.'s run as Iron Man? Would they find another Iron Man, or is he not going to make it out of Infinity War? Total speculation.
They'll do The Crossing. They'll do Teenage Tony. The super popular comic, The Crossing. I don't know what they're going to do. But how old is the first Iron Man film at this point?
It's 2008.
Like, how long has he been Tony Stark?
He's been it for 9 years now.
Wow. So, eventually it has to end. But I'll be very curious to see how it does end, like how they go out. I mean, was Old Man Logan Hugh Jackman's last turn as a character?
That was.
Is he coming back at all?
He basically said it was his last one, but you never know.
So, I mean, that's a pretty neat way to go out. He was in a very similar situation, I guess, as an actor. Like, you're attached to this character, and you're so well loved as this character, but eventually it does have to, come to an end. So, maybe they'll do something cool like that. Old Man Iron Man.
Old Man Iron Man, something like that. All right, how well do you know the Spider-Man movies?
I'm sorry?
How well do you know the Spider-Man movies? Because we are going to play a game. We are going to play a game right now. We're going to play Toby, Andrew, or Tom. We're going to give you some facts about the Spider-Man actors, and you're going to tell us, you're going to name the Spider-Man that we are talking about. Are you ready to do this?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
here we
sure.
go.
Let's go.
He famously was quoted for saying his portrayal of Peter Parker after the spider bite would always be twitching, always moving around. Is it Toby, Andrew, or Tom? Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, or Tom Holland?
I would say Andrew.
Bing! You are correct, sir. 1 for 1.
All right.
This actor was a former dancer and did a backflip during the audition to help land the role.
I just saw him on Lip Sync Battle, and he was great. I'm going to say Tom Holland.
Bing! That's 2 for 2, and he out. Yeah. Hassan, my co-host, went with Andrew Garfield in that one. We tested these backstage. This actor dated his co-star during their time shooting, but broke up while filming.
Yikes!
This is a trick question. This is a good one. No, it's not a trick question, but it's
I'll go Tobey Maguire.
Bing! He is correct. Look at this guy. 3 for 3. He must write Spider-Man or something. This actor dated his co-star extensively during and after their time shooting the movie together, and then eventually broke up.
Well, I saw them on SNL together. I'm going to go Andrew Garfield, and it was Emma Stone, right?
Bing! Man, this guy's 4 for 4 right here. We weren't sure if you were going to make it on tonight, and so I actually was prepping our intern to take over for you, and she would have had to have actually answered these questions. So we were, and she's like, no, very scared. All right, here we go. This actor never read a single Spider-Man comic before accepting the role.
Man. Say Andrew Garfield.
Oh, not that good. Not that good. You were very good up to that point. No, Tobey Maguire had actually never...
Really?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, right? Andrew Garfield was he had dreamed of doing this role since he was like a little kid. So, all right, last question. This actor is terrified of spiders, but loved Spider-Man as a kid. So we already eliminated Toby, so you're down to 2.
You know what? I'm going to go Andrew Garfield again.
Oh, no, that was Tom Holland. Tom Holland is deathly afraid of spiders, but he loved Spider-Man as a kid. Go figure.
It just fell apart there at the end. The pressure got me.
The pressure was on. Brian, besides Spider-Man, you've got some really cool things going on. You're a New York Times best-selling author, The Stuff of Legend. You got some other stuff coming out. Why don't you tell everyone about what you're doing and what you got going on and where they can find you?
Oh, great. Yeah, Stuff of Legend is ongoing. We're working on the 3rd volume right now, and I think issue 2 just came out in stores earlier this week of the penultimate story arc, so we're wrapping that up. I did an original graphic novel through Dark Horse with my co-creator Mike Raich called Tree Mail, which just won a Kids Read Comics Award last week at TCAF.
Congratulations.
At A2CAF, the Ann Arbor Comics and Arts Festival, which we were pretty stoked about. I write and draw for SpongeBob Comics, and I have a book through Lion Forge called The Cast-Offs, which is issue 9 is out, and I think issue 7 just came out. I just wrote issue 9. Sorry, no spoilers. I won't tell anybody anything about it. But yeah, staying busy, man. Writing and drawing comics, having fun.
That's fantastic. Where can people find you online?
You can catch me on Twitter, your pal Smitty, and also Brian Smith Comics on Instagram.
Awesome. Brian, thank you so much. Thank you for playing our fun game. And we're looking forward to Spidey. We're going to be talking all about it next week. Thank you so much for joining us.
Awesome. Just mail me whatever prizes I want.
Oh, you get the no prize. Isn't that what you always get? That's the winner. That's the winner.
Awesome, guys. Thanks again for having me. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you. The feeling is mutual. All right, when we come back, we do what we do every week. We go spinning the racks.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you into comics, movies, and pop culture at large? What about music and TV? Then you're in for a treat. This is Michael Dolce, your host on TalkingAlternative.com. I've been professionally writing comic books, screenplays, and music articles for almost 15 years. Catch my show, Secrets of the Sire, at its new primetime slot, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and get the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. For more info, go to secretsofthesire.com.
Hello, this is Mark Torres.
And Pronto Comics own Dominic Sperano.
And listen to our show, It Came From the Radio, right here on talkradio.nyc, every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about entertainment, movies,
comic books, and other news.
So make sure you check us out. That's right here, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Wednesday, talkradio.nyc.
TalkingAlternative.com.
Chipotle?
Did I mispronounce that?
Chicote from Star Trek.
Chipotle?
It's Chipotle. You eat the
You know
food
I don't
every
speak
week.
Spanish.
Yes. I'm sorry.
You ate a whole wheel of cheese and you pooped in the fridge?
That was too diverse, right? That was
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. I want to thank Brian Smith again. Brian's a busy guy. He's writing and drawing SpongeBob. Yeah. He's writing Spider-Man.
Yeah,
he's
it's a little annoying.
I could tell there was seething hatred in Hassan's face.
No, it wasn't.
He was like, I hate you.
I hate busy people.
You're doing things that I want to be doing.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you ever have an ambition to draw SpongeBob comics? No. No.
No.
I mean, I give him credit, though. I mean, that's still pretty awesome to be doing.
It is.
I writing and drawing comics is the dream. I was never a big Sponge. Trista might have been a SpongeBob fan. Were you a Sponge? Yeah. See, like, Trista's like 19.
It's a generational thing.
Yeah, it is a generational thing. Yeah. She's like, SpongeBob, that guy's the coolest guest we've ever had.
I remember when my cousins were in this.
Bring him on all the time.
I was like, who? What? Square? What?
Yeah.
Underwater?
Oh,
what?
my God.
This is ridiculous.
I'm actually kind of excited about that, about
Bring
having
back He-Man.
A young son, though.
That was down to earth.
Well, I think they are. Didn't they do that already? I think they feel like they did. See, that's the thing. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to get back into
satire.
Cartoons. No, not satire. I've always been into satire.
No, I was saying I was being satirical about He-Man being more down to earth than SpongeBob. You see what I'm saying? See where I'm going with that? Because he was like a bodybuilder from outer space, like with a sword, and his enemy had no face. So it really wasn't connected to reality whatsoever.
We really can't make a drop out of this either, though. I feel like this is just
Well, no,
it's just a lot of rambling.
That's my goal now. Is just to ruin all the drops. And ruin every drop possible.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed our show tonight, you can catch us again every week, every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Secrets of the Sire Facebook page. You catch us on talkradio.nyc.
Yeah, we don't run a lot, so it'll be easy to catch us.
Ooh, Sponge Hobgob Pants. I still think Corn on the Cob Goblin is my favorite, but keep coming up. We were doing names for overweight hobgoblins because they casted Ned Leeds. They casted a very chubby guy who should be Genki and called him Ned Leeds in the new Spider-Man movie. But other than that,
and you're fat shaming.
I'm not fat shaming. I'm not fat shaming.
You're robustly engaging in
I am merely saying
yes, you are.
That the likelihood, unless he went on The Biggest Loser, to become
there it is again.
The Hobgoblin.
There it is again.
It's obsolete. It's just not going to happen. I'm just being real
here. He can be anything he wants to be. He's an American.
You're affirming mood right now. You're like, no.
Yeah.
In fact, he will be the Hobgoblin.
He will. I hope he does. I hope he becomes a Hobgoblin by the end of the first movie.
But what happens...
And then I'll be like, there you go, Dolce.
I believe that John Shazam did I get that name right? I think yes, he actually already spoiled it. It's going to be Scorpion in the next movie. They've already announced that. Ooh.
It's going to be Scorpion and the Blobgoblin.
And the Boblin. See, that was bad. Sounds like I can do it. I'm allowed to do whatever
I want.
I can do whatever I want. All right. This is my favorite part of the show. Well, no, actually, I love the entire show, so I can't say this. But it's now my favorite, though, because of the intro music.
Favorites.
This is where we go spinning the racks to bring you the best and most fantastical pop culture news out there.
Spin the rack, spin that rack.
It just doesn't get old. It just never gets old.
It's old as heck.
It never gets old.
It's got cobwebs on it. That's how old it is.
All right, ComingSoon.net had a story, and we kind of talked about it.
What is that? What does that website
with
do?
Brian Smith. Robert Downey Jr. talks potentially leaving the MCU.
Yes. You know why? Because it has to be him.
Yeah.
He started it.
I know.
So we're done.
Yeah.
It's going to be him. Gone.
You think he's going to die, though?
No, he'll leave. He'll run
well,
off
he said,
the sunset with Gwyneth Paltrow.
He's quoted as saying, it's the cyclical thing. I could have said when the first Avengers came out, it's never going to get any better than that. Everybody stop. But to me, it's always been about people and opportunities.
And money.
Like the Russos, who I adore. Everyone says to me it's like a glove that fits so well.
Yes, that money buys gloves that fit really well.
He says, I just want to hang up my jersey before it's embarrassing.
Before they stop paying me the crazy amounts of money that I've been making.
Brian Everham chimed in, maybe eats the Hobgoblin to save Peter. Maybe that happens. Joe Mulvey says, what the F does Craven have to do to get in the movie? Craven's a little too dark.
Craven's got to put some clothes on.
Craven's
a little creepy.
He's like the Steve Irwin, but with no clothes.
Yeah, that's
Steve Irwin
kinda,
with no clothes.
That's like a genuine He-Man movie where it's like,
right.
I'm not going to see that.
Or would Craven be like that Republican hunter who was like out in the woods a couple years ago and he like killed like the endangered tiger or something like that? That would be Craven.
That would be Craven,
right?
yeah.
Like,
nobody likes Cravens. There's a bunch of Cravens on the
like Spider-Man
on the
dies and he's buried alive, and that was a real dark.
No, but that is my favorite. That is my favorite Spider-Man story.
That's your favorite story?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is either called Craven's Last Hunt or Fearful Symmetry, depending on which year.
Mm-hmm.
When I was young, and that movie that series first got released as a graphic novel. It was called Fearful Symmetry, and I actually have a copy of it.
Okay.
And now it's Craven's Last Hunt. But that was my favorite. And I was away at Sleepaway Camp. And we only had the first 3 issues of that. And we swore Spider-Man was dead.
Yeah.
That's how young we were.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we
didn't know anything about franchising
buried
and
in the
licensing
ground.
and stuff like that. To the point where
he was in the ground.
Yeah, they put him in the ground. They shot him with a shotgun and they put him in the ground.
Right.
It was awesome. And I had to go the entire summer and to find out that he was he's all right.
Were you sad? You disappointed?
I wasn't disappointed, but I was like, oh, really? He was drugged? That was it? He just gets up? He just woke up in a grave, and I ruined it for everyone, but if you haven't...
So this is not going to comment on what you just said, but I'm just going to help my mom out. I'm going to stare into the camera. Hi, Mom. How's it going? Mom made a critique that that I look at you too much, and I realize that I'm listening. I'm just in awe of your story.
My God.
Yeah. Young Han Solo needed an acting coach. We didn't get into this last week. I wanted to. And I wanted to get your take on that. Screen Rant was talking about how Alden Ehrenreich, Probably. Pretty good. Star of the troubled young Han Solo spin-off movie was not delivering a performance up to Lucasfilm standards, leading the studio to hire an acting coach. Now, it's not uncommon for studios to hire acting coaches. It is uncommon to do it this late in production after they fired the directors and basically looked at it and said, we got to help this guy out. You worried? You're not? I don't know.
Okay. No, not really worried. But I'm not worried for a reason.
Because you don't think it's going to be very good, period.
I don't care about
you don't care.
Han Solo movie.
Really? But it's a Star Wars movie. And so are you saying that the luster of the Star Wars movies, because they've now put out so many of them, has kind of wore off?
I don't honestly understand.
See what I did there, Sam? See how I see that?
Why we would need a young Han Solo movie. I think with all the potential that the galaxy has and the stories that they could tell, to just keep going backwards and telling stories about characters we've already had and just making them, into
like
kids.
A sixth Spider-Man movie, right?
However, I'm not going to say that movie coming out is not going to be an event. Because
it'll
it will be.
Well, no, I don't know if it will be, actually. I think it'll be.
It will be.
I think it'll be okay.
Rogue One had no chance, basically. Everyone was like, I don't even know why this is coming out. It's not even canon.
Sure.
It's not this and that. And it was an event. Star Wars is just going to be an event.
Yeah.
When Star Wars is not an event, that'll be the last Star Wars movie. Because they cost a lot of money and there's a lot of hype.
That's very true. All right, Comic-Con 2017. Marvel Television schedule includes Defenders, Inhumans, and more. So Marvel Television has officially revealed their extensive schedule for the upcoming San Diego Comic-Con, featuring an all-star lineup that includes the Defenders, the Inhumans, The Gifted, which is Bryan Singer's new X-Men family drama that's going to be on Fox, Legion, which... And again, attention to Joel Mulvey, who we had conversations about Legion, and also I forget Alec Berg, who was on our show as well too, who loved Legion. He was a big fan of Legion. I actually did get through it, and I did enjoy it. So I'm actually looking forward to the second season. But it was tough. It took a while for me to get through. But anyway, they're doing that, and they're also going to do the animated. They're going to do Marvel Spider-Man. But one noticeable absence is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They're actually coming off their most successful season yet. Not really big fanfare at this year's Comic-Con for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Really?
Is this the end for the series, you think?
See, it's another bad... I'm bad to ask that because I never really cared for that series at all.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch season 5.
Well, season 4 is the season 5's coming up. Next,
I thought that was
next
season 5
No,
that just
season
happened.
4. Season 4 is the one that just happened, and
Are you
supposedly
sure?
very good. I have 19 of them on my DVR, and I will binge
Yeah, I
watch
kind
them.
of have them all too, and
I will
just
binge
haven't.
watch them.
Yeah, I just finished binge watching American Gods, and
we'll talk about that next week.
No, yeah,
we'll
absolutely.
talk about that.
But I'm binged out after American. That was robust television.
We
to
had
watch.
a plentiful Wednesday. Wednesday that felt like a Monday.
Yeah, Wednesday.
We talked about a lot.
Wednesday.
Next week, the reviews are in. Will Spider-Man Homecoming be another hit? Or is the Spidey fatigue kicking in? We will give you our take, which means we'll go
Now, if
and
it's not
see
a hit, is it Spidey fatigue or Marvel fatigue? Which
it
one?
could be. It could be a combination of both. Plus,
you got to choose one.
Winter is coming to July. We break down the return of Game of Thrones.
Not an event. It's like small. It's like tiny.
Good night.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Who do you want to connect with?
Are you an entrepreneur or intrapreneur looking to build your following?
Welcome to our show.
Follow Me Friday with Joan
and Priya.
Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern
on talkradio.nyc.
We're your digital connectors. Woo woo! What's that?
Hey, all you crazy listeners. Looking to boost your business? Why not advertise on Talking Alternative with very reasonable rates? Interested? Simply email at info@talkingalternative.com.
Are you into comics, movies, and pop culture at large? What about music and TV? Then you're in for a treat. This is Michael Dolce, your host on TalkingAlternative.com. I've been professionally writing comic books, screenplays, and music articles for almost 15 years. Catch my show, Secrets of the Sire, at its new primetime slot, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and get the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. For more info, go to secretsofthesire.com.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network at www.talkingalternative.com. Now, broadcasting 24 hours a day. Talking Alternative.
Hi, this is Rob Kay.
And I'm Callie Alpert.
And we're hosts of The Rob and Callie Show. Are you looking for a show that talks about real stuff like life, love, the pursuit of being yourself?
Then you have come to the right place because we cover topics ranging from chivalry to gratitude to your relationship with money and everything in between.
So listen to us on The Rob and Callie Show, Tuesdays, 8 to 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.